we think she's really struggling with postpartum depression or even rage that's manifesting in messages to us in the middle of the night on Instagram that are just like, I hate my life.
What's up, Ann?
So I'm actually calling about a friend of mine.
Sure, Ann. Calls for a friend, huh?
For real.
Sure.
So I had my daughter about 5 months ago, and it was cool because I had a kid with about 4 of my other friends. Something was in the water. I don't know. But anyway.
Awesome. Okay.
So we've been on this journey together, first children, and all of us had different birth experiences, different support systems. But one of our friends in particular is having a really rough time.
Tell me about it.
And yeah, so she and I probably both had like the more traumatic birth experiences, but unfortunately her child was in the NICU for an extended period of time. I don't know what that's like, but I can only imagine how challenging that was. Yeah. And since having the kid, and I say we, it's my very close friend and I are friends with her and have kind of been noticing this, that we think she's really struggling with postpartum depression or even rage. And that's manifesting in messages to us in the middle of the night on Instagram that are just like, I hate my life, or when her baby's crying in a group setting saying nobody cares to her baby, just saying, hey, nobody cares, baby, or even referring to her baby as it. And I know my friend's heart, and I know that this is probably chemical, this is probably beyond her, but I'm worried about her. And I've talked to her when I can, but it's also a very sensitive subject. I mean, I went through my own challenges, and I know how difficult it can be to really like see the forest for the trees when you're coming out of this incredibly intense life change that was traumatic. But yeah, I'm really concerned about her. And I think what I'm really calling is to understand when she says these things in a group setting or even one-on-one, I've been at a loss for words of how to respond in a way that is honest, but supportive, but doesn't make it okay necessarily. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I think. Oh man. I guess I'll just say this as direct as I can. Yes, there's some sensitivity, some major sensitivity.
Yeah.
And I am literally only sitting here before you because I had a couple of my closest friends in the world wade through insane amounts of sewage to get to me when I was hurting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so intervention is too dramatic of a word, and that show has kind of made it sensational. But having coffee at your house one morning and inviting everybody over just to check in and go around the room.
Yeah.
And say, just want to check on everybody. I've had some good days and some bad days. We're just going to start going around and seeing how everybody's doing. How are you doing?
Yeah, I've made a point of doing that. And
with her by herself or with a group?
Both.
Okay.
Both, actually.
So in a group, okay, tell me about that.
Well, there's been a few times, and to be fair or clear, I guess I'm probably the one she's closest to in the group because we both had emergency C-sections, and she called me the day it happened. And so I feel a sort of responsibility of kind of stepping up and being that person for her. And so there have been, I almost like make it a calendar note in my phone to call her or text her like every other day and set something up, whether it's a walk with just me or friends in a group. And we had a group come over probably 2 weeks ago, and that was when she kind of expressed that she was having like almost like hallucinations at night.
Sure.
When she was taking care of the kid. And that's when I got really scared, and I actually reached out to her husband and called him and said, hey, I'm really concerned. What can I do? And also, I just want you to know that I'm here for you.
What did he say?
So he kind of had a sigh of relief of like, oh, you see what I'm seeing, and like
Okay.
this isn't just a battle that I have to fight, you know. And I think she's aware of it, but it's also like I kind of see, you know, I remember being in the fog of that. It was a different situation for me, but you need someone to throw you a rope, and so I think the question I'm having is like, how do you throw a rope with sensitivity, but also like
you don't.
It's wow.
You don't. You're past that.
Yeah.
And you said something important earlier. You said you can't see the forest for the trees. That's why we have friends.
Yeah.
Who will grab our wrist and walk us through the forest when we can't see the way out. And so, it's what I'm telling you is, I've been in your situation. I've never been in. I've sat with postpartum friends very directly.
Yeah.
And said like, here's the options before you. You can go see a psychiatrist ASAP. You're going to see OBGYN and tell them exactly the thoughts you're having, because those thoughts are scary.
Yeah.
And you think
I know that she's only telling us.
That's right. You know why? Because you come to believe they're going to take your baby away. Yeah. And your body also puts a bunch of GPS pins in that baby as it almost killed her, right?
Yeah.
And then she couldn't hug her. I mean, there's so much stuff going on there.
Yeah.
That terror demands a witness.
Yeah.
Right? And so you sit down with your friend and you say, hey, here's the deal. I'm going to love you the best I can, and I'm willing to whatever. I'm willing for you to be mad at me, whatever. But you need to go see your doctor, and I'm going to go with you.
Yeah, that's the step I just haven't taken. Like, I've had the conversations of, how are you doing? Are you still having the hallucinations? But I haven't taken are you going to see your doctor?
No, it's not even that. It's not. Yeah. I don't ask when I get to the point where you need to be right now, I don't ask like, hey, are you gonna? I don't ask that question. I say you're going to. I'll go with you, or I will stand here in your front yard when they come get you.
Yeah.
But I'm worried about you. Now there's a little bit of bravado there. Most people aren't going to come get you, right?
I'm the soft one in the friend group. I can't.
I know. And that's why I say, like, sometimes with a group, but I think it's letting her know, not asking. I see that you're not okay. I know for a fact you're only telling us a part of it because you have to, and I so love you and respect you for that.
Yeah.
We're going to see your doctor, and I'm going to go with you. But you got to make an appointment today, like right now. Oh, I will. No, I'm not going to leave. I'm not leaving here until you make an appointment, and I'm going to go with you.
Yeah.
And I know this is scary. Can I hold your hand?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I do hear what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah, there's not a gentle way to throw a rope to somebody who's drowning.
Yeah.
You throw the rope as hard as you can. And if it hits them in the head and they have to get stitches, so be it. At least they're on the boat to get stitches.
Yeah. Yeah, it was scary calling her husband because I was like, I'm risking the friendship right now doing this. But at the end of the day, it was the right thing.
All day long. I'll risk my friendships all day long if people are still alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And by the way, my wife reached out to one of my friends one time, and he came. To this day, he still never told me that she called him. She told me, but he hasn't. He honored her trust in that way because he loves me, and he obviously loves my wife too. He's a close friend, but he came down to tell me to go see somebody.
Yeah.
And he drove 3 hours to come see me. And I thought he was just bringing his son by to play with my son, but he listened to my whole spiel when I wasn't well, and he's like, you go see somebody. You're not all right.
Yeah.
And it my wife couldn't get through to me. My colleagues couldn't get through to me. He did. He did.
Yeah.
He did. And by the way, when he left, I was pissed. I was mad. Like, who do you think you are? Like, you don't know. You don't understand. Like, I did. There's not an easy path through. And listen, if you talk to her and y'all want to call in. Okay. I'll put you both right back through.
Okay.
And if you don't want to go alone, get another friend. But if you think she trusts you dearly and she would listen to you, then have that conversation and do it in person.
I'm probably the one. It's just I never want to overstep or hurt someone by doing it, but at the same time, I think it's the right thing. So,
how do you feel like it's an overstep?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think when I was going through this stuff, there's a lot you can assume on the outside about what someone is trying to do and their desires working through something. And I never want to assume. I don't know. I just don't want to assume something that's not there or just offend her. But I guess risking offending someone is probably the right thing to do if it would help her through this. So
yeah, screw offending. I would completely reframe that and saying I am her friend for this moment.
Yeah.
Nobody in the world can speak to her like I can. From an emergency C-section, from the terror, we had a plan that we all talked through to how pissed off we are to our other friends, even though we loved them because they got to do it like we drew it up, all of it.
Yeah.
And then being able to say, I don't know what it's like not to be able to hold my baby for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
I don't know. And you know this, every husband's different. I don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like being in that house with the doors closed.
Right.
And so who knows what hell she's going through. But the scariest thing is she's probably going through it by herself.
I think it's that I just don't want her to think that I'm saying she's doing a bad job, because that's not what I'm saying at all. You know, I want her to know that I think she's doing an awesome job and has been handed a really hand.
That's right.
But she needs help.
That's right. There you go. And so this might sound cheesy, but I think the greatest gift you could give her is to write her a letter and read it to her and say, I wrote this because I wasn't going to be able to get it out.
Yeah.
And if it started with, you're the most amazing mom out of all of us, and I see you drowning.
Yeah.
And by the way, you can't control how she chooses to hear it, or maybe not even chooses in this moment, in this fog. She's hurting a lot. She's struggling. How her body hears it. You can't control that. What you can do is do the best job you can to be compassionate and let her know, because we love you, we're stepping in at this point. You got to go see somebody.
Yeah.
You got to go see somebody. And we'll be here to help with childcare. We'll be here to help with whatever. But you got to go see somebody, and I'll go with you.
Okay. I can do it. Yeah.
She's lucky to have a friend like you.
Thanks.
And just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it's the wrong thing, okay?
Yeah. Thanks, Dr. John. I appreciate it.
You got it. Last thing I'll tell you, if you get even the slightest sense that she's a danger to herself or to her baby, you call 911 immediately. No questions asked. No, could care less if you don't like me anymore. But if I get even the slightest sense that she's going to do something irreversible, I'm making that call right away.